So I've got the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 as well as the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and I want to compare the two. I want to talk about them because maybe you want the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but you just want to learn more about the Z Flip 7, vice versa, or you just don't know if the Z Flip 7 is the year for you to make the switch to a foldable in the case of this foldable flipping like a clamshell device. So let's start things off with design for both of these. So with the Galaxy Z Flip 7, when it's unfolded, it is 6.5 millimeters thin. So it's ever so slightly thinner than its predecessor, and it weighs 188 grams, which is Samsung's lightest flip device yet. Now it also is built out of an armor aluminum frame. It's got the flex hinge, Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and all the great stuff. And the hinge is actually really good. Again, they improve it every single year. So when you open up the phone, yes, there is a crease, but it's ever so slightly, it's less noticeable than previous years. And when you run your finger across the display, it's really not going to get in the way of your daily usage. So I wanted to just point that out there because surprisingly, a lot of people talk about the crease, especially when I, give this phone to friends and family. They're like, wow, this crease is less noticeable than the previous flips that you had. And that is true. It is less noticeable than previous flips. Now, obviously with this flip, you're getting a cover display, which is much, much better than previous years, 4.1 inches across. And you can really use all of these apps here. Again, I don't know who's going to be playing Call of Duty Mobile. It works, but it's not really that practical. Again, Clash of Clans 2, it works, but is it really that practical? No, but it's kind of cool that you get to run these full-fledged apps on this tiny display. So again, you do have all this information here with the widgets, and then again, these applications if you don't want to use the inner display. Now, the inner display is also larger than its predecessor at 6.9 inches, which is the same size as the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. However, you can see that the Galaxy Z Flip 7 is slightly taller, so it's ever so slightly thinner. It's not as wide as the S25 Ultra display, but it still has the same 6.9 inch. Now, it is a 120 hertz panel, goes up to 2600 nits of peak brightness, so that is a plus. And Samsung likes to compare this to the Galaxy S25 Plus in terms of size. But I'm happy that Samsung did make this inner display a little bit wider than its predecessors because it just feels more like a conventional smartphone when you open it up to use the inner display. When you take a look at the Galaxy S25 Ultra, beautiful, gorgeous design overall. Again, it's just a normal slab of glass, but that's fine. I really do like the look and feel of this. It feels super premium to hold in the hand. It's got the titanium frame. It's got Gorilla Armor 2 glass. It's got IP68 water resistance, whereas the Flip 7 is IP48, so it's not as resistant as the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now you also do get, again, that 6.9 inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display, 120 hertz refresh rate, 2600 nits of peak brightness. Now you also do get an anti-reflective coating on this. However, I throw on a screen protector which kind of mitigates it. But they do have anti-reflective coating screen protectors out on the market too if you're interested. However, here's the thing. I hope that Samsung does bring their anti-reflective coating to their foldables at some point, and I also do hope that other companies do take note. So when it comes to the design, this really is a preference kind of thing. If you see yourself using a phone that flips into or folds into a clamshell just like this, the Flip might be for you. Now, are you really, missing out? Is the quality any different? I'll tell you this. I don't think so, at least from what I have seen and used. I've used both of these devices, and currently I am using the Z Flip 7. I haven't seen a decrease in the display quality when going from the 25 Ultra to the Z Flip 7. So I can tell you that. And again, the crease doesn't really get in the way of how I use the phone. It doesn't bother me at all, but I do get, for those, if it does bother you, that does make sense as well. So there is that too. The only concern I have is with the Z Flip 7, the power button and the volume button is still a little bit higher up on the phone, whereas it's easier to use on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Just pressing the power button or the volume buttons, it's just a little bit easier. And also with the S25 Ultra, you do get the inclusion of the S Pen if that is something you are looking for in a device. It's really the only one you have on the market that has the S Pen support. The speaker qualities, I can tell you this, the Galaxy S25 Ultra does get so much louder and feels more fuller. So if you are watching lots of content and you use your phone a lot for those types of things, then you may want S25 Ultra. But again, I'll leave the design segment really up to you guys. I just like the upgrades with the Flip 7, with the cover display, with the larger inner display being a little bit wider too. So I don't really miss the S25 Ultra as much. Now, when we come to the software and the performance, even though they have slightly different internals, the day-to-day use has been essentially the same. And here's what I mean by the same. They don't lag, there's no stutters, no issues, no really bugs I've come across whatsoever at all. The difference is the chipset, where the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 is running the Exynos, so Samsung's inbuilt chip, the Exynos 2500, and the Galaxy S25 Ultra is running the Snapdragon 8 Elite. And look, with benchmarks and numbers, Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset blows the Exynos 2500 out of the park. But for those who are picking up either of these devices, I don't think you're going to have any issues running heavy intensive applications or any of that sort. If you are really into the numbers and just having the best of the best, yes, you want to go with the S25 Ultra. If that's not a concern, the Z Flip 7 will perform very well. Now, they also have the same software essentially with One UI. The Galaxy S25 Ultra, at least mine, I'm running the One UI 8 Android 16 beta, and the Z Flip 7 has it, with launch. So I've been running both of them, and even though it has the beta with the S25 Ultra, it's been great. And my favorite update with One UI 8 has been the weather app. Just is so much more pleasing. I don't know, I like the animation, I like how it looks. It's become my favorite weather app, and I normally never used to use a weather app or a weather widget, and now I am all the time because of One UI 8. It's gotten me to use it on my other devices like Google and on my iPhone as well. Now, here's the thing. Even though, they come with different chipsets, they both come equipped with 12 gigs of RAM. And then the One UI 8 features with all of, Samsung AI integration with Galaxy AI as well as Gemini integration, they're all the same. So you want generative edit, you're going to get on both. They really don't share too much of a software difference. Now, the Z Flip 7 also has support for Samsung DeX. So a lot of people were asking for that. That's a huge plus. And now if you want to just use Samsung DeX with your Flip 7, you have that opportunity. Again, if you want the best of the best, you want to go with S25 Ultra. But if you're looking at it side by side, I don't see any differences. Now, when you're opening up applications, essentially they're about the same. As you can see, no issues whatsoever on that end. I really do like it. And I've played games, Clash of Clans, Call of Duty on both, and they both perform very well. Now let's get to the cameras, because we have a clear winner here, and that's going to be the Galaxy S25 Ultra with the cameras. Again, you're getting only a dual camera setup with the Z Flip 7, a 50 megapixel wide and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. So there is that. And S25 Ultra really blows out of the park. It's got this quad camera setup with a 200 megapixel main, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, 10 megapixel with 3x zoom, a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto with 5x optical zoom, up to 100x space zoom via software, and all the great stuff. So if you really want camera capabilities, you obviously go with the S25 Ultra, and that includes devices if you're comparing with the Flip or the Fold. You want the best of the best camera capabilities in terms of photos and videos, Galaxy S25 Ultra. For me, let's say I'm gonna go on vacation in a couple weeks, just throwing it out there. Hopefully I actually do. But if I ever do go on vacation, go sightseeing, I'm going to bring with me the Galaxy S25 Ultra because it has that better zoom. Yes, you do get a decent set of cameras, but they're not flagship quality. They're good, but not up there with S25 Ultra. And that's what I would like to see with future flips and folds. Samsung, make them Ultra. Take the Ultra camera setup, bring it to the foldables, like the Fold 7 or the Fold 8 at this point, the Flip 8 into like the clamshell. That would be awesome, just my take, but camera segment is definitely going to go to the Galaxy S25 Ultra because you have more capability, you have more camera versatility. Now let's get into the battery segment, the battery department, as well as the charging speeds. So with these devices, I gotta tell you, the Galaxy S25 Ultra does come out on top in terms of the battery life, but the Z Flip 7 has seen some improvements. So a 4,300 milliamp hour battery with the Z Flip 7 is the largest battery capacity for any flip, at least from Samsung. And then the 5,000 milliamp hour battery for the S25 Ultra has essentially stayed the same. However, on a day-to-day use, I'm getting better battery life. I'm getting like 6 to 7 hours of screen on time with S25 Ultra. I can end the day with 35, 40% of battery life. Whereas the Z Flip 7, I can push up to 6 hours, but then like I'm gonna have to charge it by the time, you know, the day ends, 9:30, 10 p.m. for me. And then there's the charging speeds, 45 watts on the S25 Ultra, which is faster than the 25 watts on the Galaxy Z Flip 7. Now they both have wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, and I actually was out of town for a couple days. I did forget my charger for my Samsung Galaxy Watch 8 Classic, so I was able to reverse wirelessly charge my Galaxy Watch 8 Classic with my Z Flip 7. It was pretty slow, but I still got some juice to kind of get me through the weekend, which was awesome. And you do have that with the Galaxy S25 Ultra as well. So I just wanted to point that out there. But hopefully in the battery department, not just having, you know, great battery life, but also faster charging speeds. That's something I would like to see from Samsung. Now, if battery life is a concern, battery charging speeds, then yeah, you're going to want to go with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. But I got to tell you, like this phone, I've used since the Flip 3, and each year the battery life has gotten better. This year is obviously the best. And it's so much easier to recommend because it's more reliable. If this had the Z Flip 3's battery capacity, I think it was like 3,300, it would be really hard to recommend because you can't rely on the phone. You'd have to worry about needing to charge it every single day. But with this, you don't need to. If you go to work in the office, if you work from home, you're in the car, you're in your living room, bedroom, whatever it is, I'm sure that there's chargers pretty much everywhere you go. So I think we're at a place where we don't really need to worry too much about needing to charge our phones every day unless we go on like vacation or like on a trip or something. Then we carry like portable chargers, or we want to make sure we're charging them before we go to bed. But overall, I think the battery department does go to the Galaxy S25 Ultra. And then there's the pricing. Look, the Galaxy S25 Ultra is way more expensive than the Z Flip 7. Not by like $500-600, only by what, $200. So Z Flip 7 starts at $1099 versus $1299 with the S25 Ultra. And don't get me wrong, they are both expensive, but it really does come down to, do you want to pay the premium price for both of these? I would say no. I'd say wait, because these devices, Samsung devices, always go on sale. Don't buy them at their retail price. If you're going through a carrier deal, try picking it up at a much better deal, especially if there's good trade-ins, or if Samsung.com is offering really good trade-ins for their devices, or just really good financing options, whatever the case may be. I know a lot of people, when I ask them, how did you get your phone? They're like, oh, well, I pay monthly for it anyway. They're not paying it outright. Some do, but many don't, at least here in the US. So my recommendation here is kind of put those MSRP prices aside, wait for them to go on sale, because when they do, either option is a great buy, especially for what you get. With the Z Flip 7, we are getting a clamshell foldable. Like if you're calling somebody, and by the way, call support on both of these, call quality is great. I use Mint Mobile with my Z Flip 7, or at least with all of my Android devices, Mint Mobile. And when I'm calling someone, I finish the call, I just need to close it like a regular clamshell phone we used to use back in the early 2000s. So that is actually a pretty neat and unique feature that has come back from old phones into our new clamshell foldables. But I want to wrap things up here with the design portion. Flip 7, it's compact, it's a lightweight, and it's portable. And the S25 Ultra, it's more robust and it's just a regular smartphone that we're used to, but it's premium, absolutely like super premium with a titanium build, IP68 rating, S Pen, and all that great stuff. The software and the performance, they both deliver really good performance in terms of AI and then just daily use, as well as long-term updates, 7 years for both of them. And the Flip7 does kind of favor a more foldable, smart efficiency in a foldable form. And S25 Ultra, if you ask me, kind of goes peak performance with, the S Pen support as well. The cameras, look, S25 Ultra definitely offers more flexibility and just more options with that quad camera system and the long range zoom. And then Flip7 is really limited with what it can do. The battery life, S25 Ultra easily outperforms Flip7 in endurance and charging speed. And then the price, even though the Flip7 is $200 cheaper, the Ultra does deliver more power and more features for that extra cost. And even when they both go on sale, I think they're both really good options. So it really does come down to which one you would prefer. And for me, which one would I honestly prefer to use on the daily? I'm going to tell you this, it's probably going to be the Galaxy S25 Ultra. And here's why. For me, my priority is having great performance, but also really good battery life. And I just get better of those two departments with the S25 Ultra than the Z Flip 7. Yes, I'm still using the Flip 7 as my main device, but eventually I will switch back to the S25 Ultra. Look, cameras for me, they're not a priority, but I still get that, more camera versatility on the S25 Ultra versus the Flip 7. But again, battery for me is a huge must, as well as just having the better performance overall. And Flip 7 actually caught me by surprise because of that Exynos chipset performing really well. However, again, with the top performance of Snapdragon 8 Elite, I'm still going to go with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. But if I want to switch back to the Z Flip 7, I can tell you this, it's so much easier to recommend this device than ever before. And I would highly, highly recommend trying this out at your local carrier store. Go to Best Buy, whatever it may be, try it out and see how you may like it. You may not, but it is a really unique and great device from Samsung. I think Z Fold 7 stole the show with the foldables from Samsung's release this year, but Z Flip 7 has a really good, upgrade when compared to its predecessor. And also, by the way, I have this case on for the Z Flip 7. This one is from Thinborn. It has MagSafe, which is awesome. And also this one is from Fiberboard. Again, same company for my Galaxy S25 Ultra. Also has MagSafe support. Absolutely love them. I'll be leaving links in the description down below if you want to check them out. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, definitely be sure to superman the like button, comment down below, and best of all, share this video because it really does help out the channel out a lot and will help push my content out to more people. Definitely be sure to check out the wallpaper packs. This one is called Color Blast. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, as well as my other ones. I have Notion templates and all the great stuff and products I use for the channel, for the business. Links in the description down below. Thank you all so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.